So when it comes to minimalism, I think that one of the most obvious places to get started, but also once you're very involved in minimalism, an obvious place to continually come back to is the wardrobe, the clothing that you own. And the reason being is that our style is constantly changing over time. We're losing clothes, we're buying new clothes, and we oftentimes have too many clothes. So I think that no matter how long you've been involved in this, I think learning how to come back to your wardrobe on a consistent basis and to release the items that are not 100% for you, I think that there are so many benefits involved in this, but it can be a pretty difficult process. So in this video, I'm gonna basically give my best tips for how to reduce your wardrobe, how to minimize the clothes that you own. And I'm also going to go into the psychological reasons why we hold on to certain items of clothing. And then I'm going to transition into really the benefits of this. So how this actually improves your style and gives you more financial freedom, but also the freedom to be mobile, to travel, and to move whenever you want. So the best tip that I've ever come across for letting go of clothing and reducing your wardrobe is to have a mirror and to go through all your clothes, or at least half of them, and to try everything on one by one, to look in the mirror and to ask yourself the question, is this a 10? Is this a 10? Does this spark joy? Do I totally love this item? Do I feel 100% confident in this? And if the answer is yes, obviously keep the item. But if the answer is no, this is going to be very difficult, but if the answer is no, get rid of it. Be super cutthroat and get rid of it. Obviously, if it's like a very nice jacket or a piece of clothing, you can try to sell it, but I haven't had much luck with selling clothing. I usually just donate it to Goodwill or some other charity so that someone else can use it. And what I've found comes up when we're going through this process of realizing, hey, this item isn't working for me, I need to get rid of this item, a lot of fear comes up. For me, like, I've been going into this process pretty hardcore lately and over the past few months, and I noticed that when I'm giving away clothes or deciding to get rid of clothes, oftentimes I have a fear come up of basically kind of security. I think for some reason clothing is like, oh, if I get rid of these clothes, like, what am I gonna do? But the biggest reason I think that we hold on to clothing, and the biggest reason why we hold on to most items, is the fact that we paid money for it, and there is an unconscious guilt and shame associated with that. And I'll explain with a personal example for myself. So for the past couple of years, I did a lot of traveling where I was living out of a suitcase, so obviously I didn't have much clothing, but I kept a lot of clothes at my parents' house from when I was in college or maybe high school when I bought those clothes. I don't go shopping for clothes often. It's not something that I enjoy a lot, which I think a lot of guys are the same way. And so I had these clothes and I ended up bringing some of them with me to Austin, and I had pants and that kind of stuff. And I've gotten rid of a lot of those clothes actually, but there was a specific pair of pants that's a great example that I gave away a month ago. And I remember specifically I bought them about 5 years ago at Urban Outfitters, and it was a pair of jeans, like blue jeans. And they were cool, they were slim fit, I tried them on, I was like, oh, this is super cool. And I remember specifically because I spent $80 on them. So to this day, that's the most that I've ever spent on a pair of pants, and I was like, oh my gosh, $80. And I ended up taking them home and realized later that it was kind of a mistake. I only wore the pants a handful of times, and they were nice pants, they were stylish and cool, but for some reason they weren't a 10. For some reason I didn't feel 100% confident in them, and I never wore them that much. And when I was getting rid of them this time, I had a huge wave of, I think, unconscious guilt and shame overcome me for spending $80 on it and for not really wearing it. So there was a lot of self-judgmentalism there. And I think that that is the underlying reason why we hold on to a lot of items, not just clothing, is this idea that, oh, I've spent money on this, but I haven't gotten my use out of it, therefore I'm gonna keep it because maybe one day I'll use it. And the way that we overcome this, I have two methods. The first is to have compassion and loving understanding towards ourselves and to forgive ourselves. to be compassionate and not so self-judgmental. So to go, hey, I was doing my best. I didn't know what was going on. I went to the store. I thought they were cool. I bought them. They look nice in the dressing room. Turns out it was a mistake. I'm going to lovingly forgive myself and then lovingly release this item and give it away to someone that can use it. And the other realization that's important is to realize that there is an associated cost with keeping or holding on to any item. And you can realize this by thinking about the fact that whether you're renting or whether you're paying a mortgage, you have a monthly payment on the space that you're living in, and you can break down every square foot with a number, with a price number. So any item that you have that's taking up space is therefore you're literally paying for it. And when it comes to clothing, by having items in your wardrobe that is not a 10, that you don't absolutely love, that you're not confident in, it's going to cloud you as far as what you do truly have that you do love. So it's going to diminish your style and make you less confident as a person. So there's a lot of detrimental effects from holding on to these items. And it's scary, it's difficult, it's emotional, but it is so liberating and freeing to realize this and to get rid of those clothes. So those are my best tips for getting rid of clothing. Now, why would we do this? What are the benefits of letting go of clothes? And to me, the number one benefit for reducing your wardrobe is this miraculous thing that occurs, which is that your style improves a ton. And the reason why is obvious. I mean, if you don't have anything, if all the items in your wardrobe are a 10, then every day you're gonna dress super well. And once you've gotten rid of the things that are clouding your wardrobe that you don't wear, that you don't truly love, you realize that all you have are items that you love, and it's just so much easier to dress well. So your style improves massively. And what you'll find is maybe you're watching this video and maybe you don't have very good style. And maybe you have to get rid of 80% of your clothes, which I don't think is all that uncommon. I think that humans in Western society, we really only wear a small percentage of the clothes on a consistent basis that are in our wardrobe. So I think for a lot of people, if they've never done minimalism before, they may have to give away 10 to 90% of their clothing. And so let's say, hey, you're a guy that's never had great style and you have to get rid of 80% of your clothes. This is actually an enormous miracle, because then you only have items that you do love and you're probably gonna have to go shopping. So what I've found with having more of a minimalist lifestyle is that you make a lot less mistakes when it comes to making purchases and buying clothing, and you realize exactly what you do need. So this fall, I actually sat down with pen and paper and mapped out, hey, what do I need for my fall style? Like what clothes do I have to get? And it was just a couple items. I had to get 2 pairs of pants. I wanted a black pair of shorts, which I love, which I got. And I basically went on a strike mission to figured out, okay, how much do I want to spend? Where am I going to get them? What kind of fit do I want? What am I looking for? And I just went on like a solo strike mission and executed and got those clothes and made really good purchases. And actually the pants, I bought them super cheap, and I'm picking them up today because I got them tailored so they could fit me really well. And so I think when you become a minimalist, when you do buy clothes, you can figure out exactly what you want and you can make that purchase. And because you just let go of all the mistakes that you've made in the past, I think that you're more cognizant of the fact that you do make mistakes when you shop. So when you're in the store, to ask yourself, hey, is this really a 10? Or am I going to be thinking about giving this away in a month or two? And then the second main benefit I would say is that by getting rid of all these clothes, you come to the realization that we actually don't need that many clothes. I think most people have way too many clothes, and the problem with this is that it makes it a lot more difficult to move. One thing when I've been getting rid of my clothes, I've realized that clothes are actually pretty, they take up a lot of volume. And so when I've been giving them away in my car, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of clothes. And it was only a few items, but they take up a lot of space. So by releasing those, it's so much easier to move apartments, to move houses, to move across the country, to pack your stuff up in your bag and to go traveling. And I think that that is huge in life, to set yourself up in a position where you're making it easy to travel, where you're making it easy to move, where you're making it easy to change as a person, to change your lifestyle, your location, your friends, your whatever it may be, to progress in life. I think we have to make it easy for ourselves to make those difficult leaps and to buy a one-way ticket somewhere. So I think that reducing your items, especially clothing, is a great method to get there. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please press the thumbs up button so more people can see this, and definitely comment if you have any insight or input on this, because I think this is a really amazing topic that could be discussed a lot. And also, if you're new to the channel and you want to see more content like this, definitely subscribe. I make videos usually on minimalism, has been a recent tear, but also on meditation, personal development, and surrendering the ego to God. So I hope you guys like this video. I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.